processing. I'll look for the nod. We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special Cheeky Scientist panel. Today, we thought we'd talk about really how to set proper expectations in your job search. We had a few people come to us and say that they love our success stories that they see online. But because those success stories, these transition success stories, encapsulate a long process to varying degrees. You know, some people's job search can be fairly short. Others are longer. Certainly, other PhD students who haven't graduated yet can be on the order of years. So we wanted to unpack what goes into one of these transition stories to help you set proper expectations. Because when you set your expectations incorrectly and you think your job search is going to take 2 minutes, you know, the length of one of these transition success stories, you're setting yourself up for failure and for emotions that are challenging to go through. So by setting proper expectations, understanding the emotionally challenging moments you're going to come up across in your job search, you can execute a job search more effectively and stay motivated throughout it. So with us, I have Alejandra and Maria and Mira. Hello, all. So Maria, we'll start with you. You know, what's one thing that the PhDs watching can do to set proper expectations at a particular stage in their job search, and what are kind of the emotions they have to look out for and how to get through them?
I guess that having the imposter syndrome is not really a great thing to have when you start your job search. And I think it's real right now. It's real because you see all the lays off from last year, you see all the people that have industry experience. But in the same time, you have to think that you have that academia experience, you have that transferable skills that can do a great thing in your future job. And you have the vocabulary, you have the skills that you need for that industry. But maybe in the first place, before applying, you don't really know that you have those. So you just have to kind of to see yourself, to believe in yourself, and to apply. That's the first thing that you have to do.
So you're talking about like on a job posting, when you see a job posting that asks for experience.
Yes, you just see like 5 years of experience, 7 years of experience, and you think like, oh, I just have academic experience. I'm not good enough for that. But you have to think about, okay, maybe I don't have those years of experience, but I have done that in my PhD. I have done that in my research. I have done that in so many other places. So you just have to transfer all your skills in your resume and to apply for that job, or maybe networking with the persons that are in the industry that you want to go on.
Yes. Yeah, I really appreciate you talking about that, because many PhDs don't get started simply because they don't find a job posting that matches their background perfectly or that they have all the skills for. And, you know, here's the key. You're never going to find a job posting you have all the skills for. No job candidate fits a job posting perfectly or has all of the skills. Nobody teaches us that in academia, but it's true. It's a wish list with everything that would be perfect, so that it will attract candidates. Like, think about it from an employer's point of view. They want to cast a pretty broad net. You think it's a very specific net, but they want to cast pretty broad based on all of the skills that are on the posting, not so that you have to have all of them, but so that they can reach people that have a handful of them. You see that how that shift, if you just do that shift in your mind, will change it. They're casting a broad net by putting multiple skills on there, not a narrow net, broader than you're thinking, certainly. Every one of them is a template that's been reused by the company too. That's why you always see, 2 or 5 years experience so commonly. They're just templates. You should still apply. So the way to get through that is to realize it's a template. They want to attract candidates. You should put your resume together, use it as a reason to put your resume together and how to apply, and it'll make that process easier and easier, so you won't have to get through those messy emotions, imposter syndrome or otherwise, the next time. So Alejandra, how about you? You mentioned, for you, it was really the uploading the resumes, right? Once you get past this initial fear of not being good enough for the job posting, you upload them and not hearing anything back right away.
Yeah, and it's not only with the resumes. In general, I get pretty anxious when I don't, even if I send like a LinkedIn request to somebody I'm super interested in connecting, and they don't answer anything.
Hmm.
I have that very anxious, like I deal with anxiety. So the first thing I think is like, they hate me, they like, I'm so bad, they don't even think I'm worthy of a response. And that happened to me all the time with my networking efforts, when I applied for a job, when I was looking to hear from a next round of interviews. I always had that, it was like very toxic
Hmm.
mind. The guy, I'm not hearing anything, so I let anxiety get the best of me, and that's fine. It's difficult to deal with that uncertainty, especially if you need like a job yesterday. You don't have the luxury of time of just apply for jobs sporadically and find your dream position in 6 months.
Hmm.
So it is hard. It takes a toll on you. But the best way to do that is also to not to focus your efforts on just one thing, because then the only thing you can do is to think every day, every hour, why they haven't responded. And instead, just look for more opportunities, apply to several job postings at the same time, or try to connect with more people at the same time,
Hmm.
because it's not personal. Like, if they're not answering these things, take time. Some big companies, they have like hiring processes of months. You can expect not to hear anything for 4 weeks. That's completely normal. You are
Hmm.
still in the run. But if you're just focusing on one, two, three, then anxiety takes over. But if you have 20 things to look forward, then it's fine,
Yes.
because you have so many actions to take. You can't even focus on that one you
Hmm.
applied to 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well said. And I think, as PhDs, we have this expectation that we want to know everything that's going on. We want to upload a resume. We want the hiring manager to call us and say, hey, we got your resume. We're looking at it, right? I'll call you in 15 minutes when we're done reading it, right? And then they read it and then they call you and say, okay, we read it. These are the things you did a really good job on. Here's the things that we're going to consider. Here's all like, we want to know behind the scenes, everything that's going on. Never going to happen, right? Consider your audience that, they're getting hundreds of these resumes. They have to find your resume first. And if you're putting all your hopes into one job lead, that's a mismanaged expectation. You should be uploading 5-10 resumes per day, at least, making sure you have the right resume first. And then once you do this, after a few days, certainly after a week or two, you'll start gaining some traction. This idea, and we learn this as PhDs too, that we can get a lot of work done right before something is due. We can prepare an entire presentation at a PhD level presentation the day before, right? In a job search, it's a much bigger process than you're thinking. It's much bigger than preparing a presentation the night before. You have to get the ball rolling. This is going to take you a couple of weeks. You can't wait until you're about to defend your thesis, et cetera, and think it's going to happen. And then you're going to have all this traction, all this feedback, and all these reference points. You have to get started, increase your threshold, from one job lead to 30, 40, 50 per week that you're going after, and just create it like a system, a process, almost a habit. And through repetition, you'll turn it into a habit to where it doesn't affect you emotionally. Like you used to take a lot of emotional energy to set up that first experiment you learned how to do, right? Or to first start writing your first paragraph of your thesis. And then it became habitual, right? And there wasn't this emotional murkiness to get through. Mira, so you brought up networking when we were preparing for this. What is it about networking, informational interviews, referrals that we could set better expectations on?
Yeah, so Isaiah, we do know that 82% of the jobs is found through networking, but not everyone is going to be on board with it, because you invest, it is very painful, emotionally very taxing when you spend if weeks, if not months, on doing informational interviews, networking with people of the industry, and yet it doesn't end up in a referral.
Mm.
So I would just advise that do not be disheartened with it, because it's a win-win situation. You learned a lot from that person. Maybe that person did not give you a referral, but you did learn about the companies. You
Mm.
did learn about the work process, the organization structure. So maybe have a lot of networking, leads at a time, and then
Yes.
don't just get stuck up on one.
Mm. Yeah. And I would say also see people as an end in themselves, see informational interviews, your connections. If you're building a professional network that's going to last for a lifetime, especially if you're networking with PhDs, only 1.6% of the population has a PhD. When it comes to PhDs working in industry, it drops well below 1%, right? It's a small pool, and you're going to come across the same people over and over again in your career, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. So build those professional relationships, have a long-term mindset with them. You're not using them just to get hired. You want to learn from them. You're gaining value. And also increase your threshold. No, one informational interview is not going to lead to that dream referral. And there's not only one type of referral. You think that a referral is someone, again, where they have to take your resume, give it to the hiring manager. It's on them to follow up with the hiring manager every single day to say, hey, are you going to hire them? Are you going to hire? That doesn't work that way. They might pass along your resume. That's it. Now it's on you to follow up and try to get the other person's contact information, the hiring manager. There's other types of referrals too. You could ask to use their name on a cover letter. You could ask them if there's anybody else they could introduce you to. You could do both. So again, you have to open yourself up here and not limit yourself, which will help you in terms of expectations too. What the theme here is that there's always more you can do. Expect less of others and what they're going to do for you, especially in terms of like keeping you up to date on where you are in the process. Expect more from yourself. Take more action to achieve your goal. The final thing I'll say is when it comes to interviewing, especially at the phone screen stage, what I see a lot of PhDs do is, first of all, they don't prepare for interviewing at all. They have no behavioral practice. They really focus on where they are, right? We're really good at that as PhDs. I got to solve this problem right now, but you don't look at the problem ahead. And then you get to a new problem, because that's what life is a series of hopefully higher level problems. You get the phone screen, you're totally unprepared. You blow the phone screen, and all of that work that you did, at best, it was you and a couple hundred other job candidates, right? It's 250 at best average per job posting, at worst 2,000 applications per job posting for the larger companies. You finally get that phone screen, and you expect that once you get that phone screen, it's just smooth sailing, right? Like we have to do all of this energy to get contact with an employer, and then we get contact and we're like, success. You can think about it in athletics. When you see a lot of inexperienced people, they get into their first big tournament, and they get to like the quarterfinals or the semifinals. And that's all that they had in their mind as winning. So they lose and they never make it to the actual finals. This is a very common thing. But the more experienced people, they realize this is just the quarterfinals. This is just the semifinals. Okay, now I'm at the finals. And they don't relax as they get to the quarter and the semis and the finals. They increase their activity. They take it even more seriously. That's what you need to do. You get to a phone screen, and now you 10x the effort you're putting into it. You learn everything about that company, prepare to the highest level. You get a site visit, you 100x it. You take it extremely seriously. You practice, you get around other PhDs that are working in industry, because this is your moment, your chance. And if you get rejected at that stage, you have to go all the way back to the resume stage, depending on how many leads you have in your pipeline. So it's really important for you to set those proper expectations and to increase pressure, increase effort as you have successes, not decrease it, not think that you have it made. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time, Maria, Alejandra, Mira. Thank you all. Remember your value as a PhD. And if you have questions or comments, please leave them below and we will get to them. Remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional. Thanks all.